Jim Justice campaigns for Donald Trump, and Waynesburg University features a new artist.
Plus, the Josh Shapiro administration invests $3 million to an organic potato farm, and updates from the presidential election. All this and more coming up on the Newscast, live at 5.
And now, your 5 o'clock news on Channel 14.
Welcome into WCTV's Newscast, live at 5. I'm Michael McKenzie.
And I'm Joe Shirillo.
Last week, Jim Justice campaigned on Donald Trump's behalf right here in Waynesburg. WCTV was there and has the story.
On Thursday, October 17th, Donald Trump's campaign called on Jim Justice to make a stop here in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, to speak on behalf of the Trump-Vance campaign.
To be perfectly honest, I think Pennsylvania is everything. And President Trump and I have talked many times, and I'm really close to the family. I'm a real believer in what he stands for. I think this country is going in the wrong direction beyond belief. It's the sole reason that I'm running.
Pennsylvania is proving to be one of the more important swing states in the 2024 election, which is why Justice spoke to rallygoers and prospective voters about the importance of voting in the state.
We don't have any choice on what to do. We don't have any choice on what to do. You know, we've got to go vote. We've got to absolutely try to recruit our families and whatever to go vote. We got to do it.
Justice spoke to people at the rally and media afterwards about some of the more important issues facing Americans in the 2024 election, including things his campaign did in West Virginia that he considers a rousing success.
In West Virginia, you got to listen to me, but in West Virginia, I am a believer in a state that was cold. I am a believer, really and truly, that we should embrace all the energies, all the alternatives. But I am an absolute believer wholeheartedly that it's frivolous to think we can do without fossil fuels in this country today.
Justice also spoke about issues the Trump campaign has mentioned on their campaign trail, such as the decreasing rate in home ownership.
You got to get interest rates down, guys. I mean, that's all there is to it. When you're purchasing a home, and if it's a $300,000 home, you're paying 8% interest rates. You're paying $2,000 a month in interest rates. You know, because it's costing you 8% on $300,000 is $24,000 a year. It's costing you $2,000 a month in interest costs, and that's absolutely not retiring any of the principal at all. So we got to get interest rates down.
Reporting for WCTV, I'm Michael McKenzie.
For the next 3 weeks, Waynesburg will feature a Pittsburgh-based artist. Jane Ogren's work in her Focus on Fiber exhibit will be displayed in the Benham Fine Arts Hall until November 15th. The opening reception was held on Monday of this week. Ogren defined fiber art as, quote, a combination of fiber techniques in using fiber as a medium, end quote. The Benham Fine Arts Hall is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. for those who are interested to check out the exhibit.
Hurricanes Helene and Milton have devastated Florida, North Carolina, and other East Coast states. Waynesburg University is offering some help. The university is hosting a hurricane relief drive to help the victims of those tragic storms. Each department in the university is being asked to donate certain items, as you can see in the chart listed on the screen now. For other ways to help those affected by Hurricanes Helene and Milton, visit redcross.org to learn more.
Yesterday, the Shapiro administration announced a huge investment in an Erie County organic potato farm. Folkland Foods, located in Waterford, Erie County, received the $3 million investment from the Shapiro administration. Folkland Foods is owned by the Throyer family, who have been known for their role in pioneering organic farming in Pennsylvania. The investment will create 50 new jobs in the community. At the event, Shapiro said his administration is committed to making targeted investments to benefit Pennsylvania farmers, strengthen rural economics, and ensure the state remains at the forefront of agricultural innovation.
Coming up, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris ramp it up on the campaign trail with less than 2 weeks until Election Day.
Plus, historic numbers of people casting their ballots early. All this and more on the Newscast.
Unable to watch the live stream? Follow our account on X for live updates on the game. Check us out on Instagram as well for game day posts with all the information you need to know, as well as behind the scenes of each production. Our social media team works the hardest to give the best content to all of our audience. We're even on TikTok. You can stay up to date with WCTV on our Instagram account with clips from each of our shows. And last but not least, subscribe to our WCTV YouTube channel to watch those shows in full length. Check us out from Lewiston, WCTV, and the entire Department of Comm.
Hello and welcome back into the Newscast Live at 5. Vice President Kamala Harris has only been at the top of the Democratic ticket for a few months now, and with just a couple of weeks until the election day, some Americans are still hoping to learn more about her. Last night she participated in a town hall hosted by CNN in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania. Political correspondent Julia Benbrook was there and talks about the strategy the Harris campaign had for the town hall.
In these final weeks, part of the strategy is for Vice President Kamala Harris to present herself as the candidate who can bring change, a new generation of leadership. That's a line she'll likely use during the town hall that will start in just a few hours as she takes questions from voters. But there's a fine line she has to walk as she looks to celebrate the wins of the current administration and also distance herself from President Joe Biden. According to dozens of aides and outside allies, part of the strategy in the final sprint toward Election Day is for Vice President Kamala Harris to present herself as an agent of change.
America is ready for a new and optimistic generation of leadership.
Some of the early opportunities to define how her presidency would be different than President Joe Biden's opened her to criticism.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
But she has sharpened her message in recent days, highlighting their difference in age and political backgrounds.
My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency.
During what has become a rare campaign stop for the incumbent, Biden said Harris's loyalty to him up to now doesn't mean she won't forge her own way.
Every president has to cut their own path. That's what I did. I was loyal to Barack Obama, but I cut my own path as president. That's what Kamala's going to do.
Numbers show a wide majority of Americans say the country is on the wrong track right now. But Harris also needs to reassemble Biden's 2020 coalition, which included strong support from black voters and gains among suburban moderates. Needing those voters' support could answer why she hasn't put even more daylight between herself and the current president. And as Harris takes questions from voters, the top issues are likely to come up: immigration, abortion rights, and the economy. The economy poses one of the biggest challenges for Harris as she looks to distance herself from the current administration. Americans continue to feel the pressure of inflation, something she's sought to meet with policy proposals. Reporting in Pennsylvania, I'm Julia Benbrook.
J.D. Vance held a campaign event in Arizona yesterday. Rachel Lewis was there where Vance continued to hammer home the key issues he and Donald Trump have talked about.
The polls show a tight race in Arizona, and the presence of both campaigns remains steadfast in our state. J.D. Vance staying consistent in the campaign's messaging, talking border.
Arizona is maybe feeling it the worst.
Economy.
We're going to make groceries more affordable. We're going to make housing more affordable. We're going to make the American dream more affordable.
And Kamala Harris, the candidate.
But the other real advantage that we have in this race, ladies and gentlemen, is that Kamala Harris keeps on opening her mouth and saying things.
But another consistent question remains.
Are you confident in the Arizona election system, and are you going to accept the results moving forward?
Well, look, I think that we're in a better place than we were in 2020.
Not a direct answer, and many Trump supporters remain convinced, despite evidence proving otherwise, that this is a state Democrats could never win.
I'm hoping for the best, but there's always that thing of how legitimate the voting's going to be.
I know you mentioned that you're nervous about the legitimacy of the election. Do you think, would you believe that Harris could win Arizona?
from what I've gone out to talk to people, no. The people I have talked to, every person I talk to, I've not talked to a liberal.
The location for today's event, Tier Tactical in Peoria. Peoria Mayor Jason Beck is Tier's founder, a company that has been providing tactical gear to Israel's military forces. Beck says Tier's alliance with Israel is a factor in the decision to bring Vance to Peoria.
They have an economic ability to be able to solve these problems, but we need to be able to generate oil, generate fuel, be able to shut off Iran in the way that we're doing it.
Donald Trump also had campaign events yesterday as he toured Georgia on the campaign trail. First, he attended a Believers and Ballots town hall taking questions from prospective voters. He then attended a rally advertised as a Georgia for Trump rally. Early voting has already begun in Georgia as both the Harris and Trump campaign up the number of events they take part in. Today, Trump is in Arizona and Nevada campaigning, and he will finish the week in State College, Pennsylvania, and make a couple of stops in Michigan as Election Day nears.
The Department of Justice has warned Elon Musk's pro-Trump super PAC that his $1 million sweepstakes in battleground states might be illegal. The Tesla CEO is giving away $1 million prize each day to registered voters who sign a petition supporting the First and Second Amendments. CNN's Jason Carroll has more.
We are going to be awarding $1 million to randomly to people who have signed the petition every day from now until the election.
First, it happened in Harrisburg on Saturday.
By the way, John had no idea. So anyway, you're welcome.
Then again, just outside Pittsburgh on Sunday.
Up there? Okay.
Elon Musk made a promise to hand out $1 million each day until Election Day to registered voters in battleground states who sign his petition supporting the First and Second Amendments. So far, 4 winners identified, and according to publicly available records, all previously registered Republican voters. Musk's signature on all the checks.
My name is John.
John Dreher at that event in Harrisburg, followed by Christine Fischel, who took the stage outside Pittsburgh. Shannon Tomei announced in McKees Rock, Pennsylvania, and Andy Steinley named in Holly Springs, North Carolina. CNN could not reach any of the winners for comment. Musk's super PAC has not returned requests for comment as well. In social media posts, the group says winners would be selected to earn $1 million as a spokesperson for America PAC. Some of them have already recorded videos for Musk's Political Action Committee. According to Musk's super PAC website, only those registered to vote in swing states of Arizona, Michigan, Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin are eligible to win. Sources tell CNN the Justice Department sent a letter to the super PAC warning the daily $1 million giveaway to registered voters in swing states might violate federal laws, citing it's illegal to incentivize registration with cash or prizes.
I think for new voters who might register to vote, and this being the inducement, like I can have an opportunity to get $1 million, it certainly feels like that kind of exchange. At the same time, the United States Supreme Court has been very narrow in how it's construed bribery statutes.
Mueller also warns that voters who signed the petition could potentially face legal trouble for accepting money in exchange for their vote. Though it should be noted, the DOJ has not accused any winners or signers of the petition of any wrongdoing.
I think what the Department of Justice is going to be weighing as it tries to figure out whether to prosecute and how aggressive it wants to be in its theory.
If calculating from the day Musk first gave out that first honorary check, it would total 18 winners, $18 million. Perhaps a drop in the bucket for the world's richest billionaire who has already donated nearly $75 million to his pro-Trump super PAC. The question is, will it have a ripple effect among registered voters in those swing states where polling indicates the presidential race is still a toss-up?
There's some bad publicity that you've seen out there as people are upset, alleging that he's essentially trying to buy an election. But then there are people who think it's good that he's stepping up and showing his support for Trump.
With less than 2 weeks now until Election Day, many Americans have already decided who they want for president. Early voting is underway and more than 20 million ballots have already been cast. That's according to data from 47 states and the District of Columbia. The data was gathered by CNN, Edison Research, and Catalyst, a company that provides data analytics and other services to Democrats, academics, and nonprofit advocacy groups. Meanwhile, the presidential candidates are working to appeal to any undecided voters across the 7 battleground states. Polls continue to show there is no clear leader in the race for the White House.
One Texas voter took part in the political process this week, but his attire caused a little controversy. Destiny Fuller reports.
Jason Jones walked into the Southside ISD admin building this morning wearing this t-shirt. He says he expected to cast his ballot with no problems until he was stopped by an election official.
The judge there didn't like my shirt and told me to leave or not going to let me vote.
According to a Texas state election code, electioneering is strictly forbidden at the polls. The law says it's illegal to, quote, post, use, or distribute political signs or literature within 100 feet of a polling place. Only Jones says there was no sign. That's when Southside ISD police were called.
The cops said there's nothing posted, so they can't do nothing about it. And when I was going to vote, he took a picture of me and asked the lady to get a copy of my voting, my ballot. And I told the cops about it, and it's just not right having a copy of my ballot.
Bexar County Elections Administrator Jackie Callanan says election judges are allowed to have their phones at polling locations, but it's never acceptable for them to ask to see a ballot. She adds Jones should have been made to cover up.
Some of our judges carry and have available jackets or sweaters and say, please cover it up. For those that don't have anything and somebody's just like, I'm not going to go in there and turn it around. Again, our judges are taking our huge sample ballots and taping them to the front of it.
Jones did not cover his Trump shirt, but was still allowed to vote after being pulled from the line 3 times. He says this is the first time he's heard of the law at all.
Our Constitution, our First Amendment, our right to vote should have nothing to do with what I wear. Like, it's just, wearing this shirt is my right, and my right to vote. It's that simple.
That will do it for national news. Coming up next is Sarah Clegg with business and entertainment. But first, we step outside with Wyatt Clatterbaugh for a quick look at the weather.
It has been a beautiful sunny day here at Waynesburg University. A little windy, but stay tuned for your full weather segment here on WCTV Newscast.
Ha! Gotcha!
Fading up to Tyler and Mia in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Mia Hinkins.
And I'm Tyler Heron, and welcome
to Jacket Sports Weekly. Welcome back to the newscast. I'm Sarah Clegg with your business and entertainment update. One person is dead and at least 48 others sick after an E. coli outbreak tied to a fast food chain, McDonald's. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is investigating the multi-state outbreak. As Lee Waldman reports, the CDC believes the outbreak is linked with McDonald's Quarter Pounders.
A health alert coming for the Golden Arches.
Sorry, we don't have the Quarter Pounders at the moment.
The CDC is conducting what they're calling a fast-moving investigation into an E. coli outbreak they say is linked to the popular McDonald's Quarter Pounder and dozens of illnesses reported in at least 10 states, including one death of an older person. Nearly a dozen people have been hospitalized, including a child who developed a serious complication that can develop from an E. coli infection. A map on the CDC website shows most of the illnesses are in Colorado and Nebraska.
We reach out to members of the public that have these positive test results and ask them a series of food survey type questions to try and understand foods that they ate leading up to the onset of their illness.
Information reviewed by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration shows that slivered onions are a likely source of contamination.
I want to talk about onions.
I wanted to take
In a video released on YouTube, McDonald's USA President Joe Erlinger says McDonald's has stopped using the onions as well as quarter-pound beef patties in several states while the investigation continues. In an interview with the Today Show, Erlinger assured customers that other items on the menu are safe to eat.
What we've done at McDonald's is taken this swift and decisive action to address the issue that we have so that the public can be confident in McDonald's.
In New York, Lee Waldman reporting.
A creamery has gone viral on TikTok. Here's the story.
I am so excited.
And I was so perplexed at the social media phenomenon you're about to watch.
Oh, that's thick.
That's San Francisco resident Peggy Shue using a spoon to scoop out the thick cream atop a bottle of milk.
Wow, that looks so good. You know how it goes. Cheers!
But not just any milk. Her favorite brand, Petaluma-based Strauss. And because of her enthusiasm for the cream that rises to the top.
Ooh, do you see the cream top?
Her videos have gotten millions of views and started a TikTok dairy revolution known as Milk Talk.
Well, I never expected it to take off like this. And yeah, it's been so awesome seeing that it's had an impact on Strauss too.
So of course we had to make the trek up to Sonoma County to get to the bottom of what this cream top really is. At a Strauss family creamery facility in Rohnert Park, 25,000 gallons of milk get processed each day.
So this is your TikTok famous product.
The minimal processing and lack of homogenization or fat distribution means the cream rises to the top. It's how Albert Strauss has made milk for 30 years.
I really appreciate and am excited by, people discovering that, cream top milk is good for you.
That discovery has led to massive demand. Orders for their half gallon have doubled on the West Coast.
We are getting requests from around the world. It's been fantastic. Never had anything like this before.
Albert hopes his newfound virality,
it's
really thick, is a chance to share the Strauss mission with the world.
TikTok and things like that is an opportunity for us to be able to really talk about our model of a carbon neutral dairy farm model that's being replicated all over the world.
As for Peggy, who ironically has a touch of lactose intolerance,
really it's very mild compared to what it used to be.
She plans to keep working her 9-to-5 tech job, all while spreading her love of Strauss milk around the globe and expanding into content that helps other food-related businesses.
I genuinely just wanted to share something that I loved with other people.
Americans head into the holiday season with big spending plans and anxiety about debt and emergency savings. Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at the numbers and how households can position themselves to enjoy the holidays.
Retailers forecast a big holiday spending season, but consumers have some financial stresses. Bankrate Chief Financial Analyst Greg McBride says their latest research points to many Americans feeling short on emergency savings, mostly blaming inflation.
Americans that haven't increased their emergency savings this year point to that as a culprit. Close behind, too many expenses.
A September survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York also found Americans haven't been this worried about missing a minimum credit card or debt payment since April 2020, early in the COVID-19 pandemic. McBride says it's important to aim for balance during the end-of-year holiday stretch.
The goal is you want to come out of this without having to raid your savings and without adding to your credit card debt.
Cassandra Rupp, a senior wealth advisor for Vanguard, says consumers can start by cutting smaller everyday expenses for the season, like morning coffee or lunches out.
What are your priorities? How can you create flexibility in your ability to spend while still ensuring that you have the proper amount going into savings and that you're not compromising your future financial success.
And any extra income or bonus should be money in the bank.
A lot of time you start to think about how you could spend that money ahead of actually receiving it. It's hard psychologically to put that off and put it into savings, but really it should be out of sight, out of mind.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Tickets to this year's World Series are expected to cost more than ever. How about $1,700 for a seat to the highly anticipated matchup between the New York Yankees and Los Angeles Dodgers? That's the average on the secondary market. The price has more than doubled the average ticket price for last year's World Series at about $776 per seat. This year's price also edges out the previous record from the 2016 World Series between the Chicago Cubs and Cleveland, when the average ticket cost $1,691. This year's sky-high ticket prices are likely due to a number of factors. Both teams hail from big cities. Each team features some of the biggest names in baseball, with Dodgers' Shohei Ohtani and Yankees' Aaron Judge. And it's the first time in more than 40 years that the Yankees and Dodgers are meeting in the championship round. Today's Tinseltown Roundup includes a popular streaming series and the latest from an iconic actor. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
This is the hill we die on. I'm ready.
Here's your latest look at the final episodes of Yellowstone. Part 2 of Season 5 marks the first new episodes of the Western saga since January 2023. Yellowstone returns to Paramount Network November 10th.
Why are you here, Eli?
I've been accused of not being myself.
Showrunner Sarah Thorpe started sending Billy Crystal scripts for the psychological thriller Before while he was working on a very different project.
I was on Broadway in a musical of Mr. Saturday Night, and then so I would get these scripts, which I would save for Mondays, which was my only day off, and I'd read what she had done and had come up with, and I would like break out into a sweat and put it down, going, "How am I gonna do this?" And then, I love this, and this is scary. It was, and at night I'm doing, jokes and humor and dancing, and then in the day I would like going, "Oh, I get to do this, I get to do this." It was like crazy.
Before debuts Friday on Apple TV+. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That will do it for your business and entertainment update. I'm Sarah Clegg. When we return on the newscast, Tyler Aaron has your sports.
Welcome back to the newscast live at 5. I'm Tyler Aaron with your sports. Last night, Waynesburg's men's soccer team traveled to Erie to take on Penn State Barron for their final non-conference match of the season. Penn State Barron scored 2 goals early on in the first half and added another goal in the second half to shut out Waynesburg 3-0. Waynesburg only registered 5 shots on goal in the loss. The only other team in action yesterday was volleyball hosting the Bethany Bison. After losing the first set 25-21, Waynesburg took sets 2 and 3, 25-22 and 25-17. The fourth set, though, went back to Bethany, winning 25-16 to force the fifth set. Waynesburg took set 5, 19-17 to win their first President's Athletic Conference match of the season. Maddie Dayton, Emma Hyatt, Paige Mortimer, and Christina Zadrozny all led Waynesburg with 7 kills, and Jordan Stein led the team with 33 digs. Saturday offers another full schedule of exciting events. The volleyball team plays at the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse at 1 p.m. against the Westminster Titans. The women's and men's soccer team hosts senior night at John F. Wiley Stadium against Geneva. The women start first at 1 p.m. as they look to clinch the playoffs for the second straight season with a win. The men look to give Geneva their first loss of the season when that match starts up at 4 p.m. Tune into the Waynesburg University Sports Network for coverage. Meg Berry and Joey Chirillo are on the call for the women's, and Brett Gambita and myself are on the call for the men's. The football team caps off the day as they travel 137 miles up north to take on Allegheny. The Gators are coming into the game looking for their first win since week 1. The Gators sit in 9th in the PAC standings with a 1-6 record, while Waynesburg sits in 7th place with a 2-4 record after their 34-14 victory over Bethany last week. Kickoff from Allegheny College is at 5 p.m. You can listen to this game on WCYJ FM 99.5 The Hive with Michael McKenzie and Benicio Del Falco on the call. Well, it's the final week of the regular season for Friday Night Lights. In Class A Tri-County South, Bentworth travels to play Avella. Winless Mapletown looks to play Spoilers as they host Carmichaels. Undefeated California entertains the undefeated Jefferson Morgan Rockets. West Green travels to Best Center. And in 2A, Waynesburg Central looks to improve to a 4-2 conference record as the Red Raiders host winless Stowe Rocks. All games kick off at 7 p.m. Now as we look over to pro sports in Pittsburgh, the Penguins continue on their Western Canadian road trip when they take on the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow at 9 p.m. The Penguins come into the game with a 3-4-1 record after dropping a 4-3 shootout loss to Calgary back on Tuesday. The Penguins will play Vancouver on Saturday at 10 p.m. before coming back home to play Marc-Andre Fleury in the Minnesota Wild on Tuesday. Tonight on Thursday Night Football, it is an NFC matchup between the 5-1 Minnesota Vikings and the 2-4 Los Angeles Rams. Vikings are coming into the game after falling to the Detroit Lions back on Sunday for their first loss of the season, while for the Rams they defeated the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday 20-15. Finally, for the Pittsburgh Steelers are once again set to play another primetime game this week, but instead of playing a third straight home game on Sunday night, this one is on Monday night when they take on the 2-5 New York Giants. Can we see Russell Wilson take up his game to another level after his performance against the Jets? I guess we'll have to wait till Monday night at 8:15. You can watch the game on both ABC and ESPN. That's all for your sports. I'm Tyler Aaron. Wyatt Clatterball is up next with your weather.
You're listening to WCYJ FM 99.5 The Hive, your home for everything Waynesburg. Our campus radio station gives students like you a chance to work in live studio environment without ever leaving Waynesburg. WCYJ FM has specialty shows, sports recaps, and updates, weather, and live coverage of your Yellow Jackets. Tune in at 99.5 The Hive or online at waynesburg.edu/listen.
Hello, I'm Wyatt Clatterball here to bring you your weather report for the week. It is currently 61, but is expected to drop to 34 degrees later today, so it might be time to pull those winter coats out of the closet. Tomorrow is expected to be warmer with a high of around 70 degrees and a low of around 51 degrees. Slight rain is expected, but overall it should turn out to be a nice fall day. Saturday looks the same as today with a high of around 61 degrees and a low of around 35 degrees. So don't put those coats away just yet, as there is some slight rain in the forecast as well. Sunday is looking like a much cooler day with a high of 59 degrees and a low of 34 degrees with slight rain once again expected to be in the forecast. Monday brings warmer weather to start the week with a high of 69 degrees and a low of 46 degrees. The warm weather will stay consistent on Tuesday with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 53 degrees, so it might be time to put on some shorts one last time before the cold weather hits consistently. Wednesday is the warmest day thus far with a high of 77 degrees and a low of 57 degrees, so you can keep your shorts on for one more day, but that's going to do it for your weather update. Let's send it back to Michael McKenzie and Joey Cirillo at the desk.
And that'll do it for the Newscast Live at 5. This is our last newscast before our live election coverage on November 5th. Our coverage begins at 7 p.m. on our YouTube and cable channel that day. But now, for everyone behind the scenes and in front of the camera, thank you for watching.
Stay tuned on our WCTV's YouTube page and social media platforms for more Waynesburg content.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.